When they hurt you, lie to you, laugh at your pain, do you want revenge? Do you plot every move with a cold, calculated mind, turning pain into strategy? Or do you sit back, silent and still, trusting that karma never misses? Some strike fast. Others wait years. But one thing is certain, revenge always reveals who you truly are. Let's talk about it. I'll tell you 9 stories of epic revenge, and one where karma did the honors. Pick your favorite payback. When Hitler took Paris in 1940, he had one demand: a photo of himself on top of the Eiffel Tower. But when his soldiers arrived, the elevators weren't working. Why? Because someone, a French engineer, maybe a janitor, maybe a rebel, had cut the cables. Climbing up meant 1,665 steps. Hitler made it only to the 2nd floor, took a few photos, and left. Parisians called it the ultimate insult. He conquered the city, but couldn't conquer the tower. And to this day, no one knows who did it. But that man, he left his revenge at the top of Paris. From Paris, moving to London. Not a journey of miles, but one of power. It was June 1994. That night, the whole world was watching Charles. A documentary was airing where he finally admitted.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, he had cheated on Diana.
And you were?
Yes. Until it became irretrievably broken down.
The palace braced for silence, sadness, maybe a dignified no-show. But Diana? She showed up in a black, silk, off-the-shoulder, body-hugging dress that screamed everything without saying a word. It broke every royal rule. It wasn't safe. It wasn't subtle. It was stunning. And in that single moment, she flipped the narrative. While Charles confessed to infidelity on national TV, Diana stepped out and made headlines worldwide. They called it the revenge dress. But it was more than that. It was a message. You don't break me. You don't define me. And I look better than ever without you. From heartbreak to power play, Diana didn't just wear a dress. She wore revenge. Buenos Aires, 1936. Her name was Cora Kavanagh, an Irish immigrant in Buenos Aires. He loved her, but his family, one of the richest in Argentina, called her a new money immigrant. They made him break off the engagement. She walked away without a word. Years later, she came back, richer, smarter, and with a plan. She bought 3 prime estates in front of the Anchorena mansion, their family mansion, and built the tallest building in all of South America, right between their mansion and their sacred family basilica. They had built the church to be seen from their window, and now all they saw was her name, Kavanagh. Her building, her skyline, her street. That's not just petty. That's architectural revenge. Quick pause before a real hardcore story. If this is your kind of content, you know what to do. Stick around, subscribe, and let the algorithm know we've got unfinished business. For 13 years, Aku Yadav raped women in Kasturba Nagar, India. Young girls, mothers, widows. He beat, tortured, and humiliated them, while the police looked the other way. Most of his victims were women from the so-called untouchable caste, the lowest tier in India's social hierarchy, who were routinely ignored by the authorities. Every time someone filed a complaint, he returned, more violent, more emboldened. The law never protected them. The police often laughed in their faces. Some even took bribes from him. Then, one day, in a courtroom, justice finally arrived. Not from the judge, but from the victims. As Yadav was brought in for yet another hearing, he smiled. He called one of the women a prostitute. He threatened to rape her again. And the policeman beside him laughed. There was the breaking point. We can't both live on this earth together. It's you or me, the woman said, and hit him with her sandal. In seconds, dozens of women, many of them his past victims, swarmed. The guards ran. No one stopped them. They stabbed him 70 times. They made sure Akuyadav would never hurt another soul. It wasn't planned. It wasn't political. It was pain, rage, and justice erupting at once. One woman later said, "We were ready to go to jail, but we were not ready to let him walk out alive again." Some called it a murder, others justice. But for the women of Kasturba Nagar, it was something deeper, a reckoning, a breaking of silence, a moment where the powerless took back their power. Because sometimes revenge is about balance. It's about justice stepping in where the system stepped away. When the law fails to protect, the people remember how to protect themselves. And in that courtroom, for the first time in years, the women walked out not in fear, but in freedom. Some people hold a grudge. Harlan Ellison mailed his. Before he became one of the most fearless writers in America, Harlan Ellison was just another student, and not a particularly liked one. One of his college professors told him flat out, "You'll never make it as a writer." Most people would have been crushed, not Ellison. Years later, Ellison proved that professor wrong, again and again.
Well, I see myself as a writer. I'm a professional liar.
He won Hugo Awards, Nebula Awards, Edgar Awards. He became a legend in science fiction and fantasy. And every single time he won one of those awards, he boxed it up and mailed it to that professor. No notes, no explanation, just the cold weight of a trophy and the silence of being proven wrong. Revenge doesn't always need fire or fury. Sometimes it's just a box with your name on it and the echo of everything you said coming back to haunt you. Success is the best revenge, but Harlan Ellison made sure his had postage. Do you use WhatsApp? Most people do, but here is what they don't know. It started with a rejection. Back in 2009, Brian Acton applied for a job at Facebook. They turned him down, said he wasn't the right fit. So he walked away and built something better. 5 years later, Facebook came knocking, not with a job offer, but with $19 billion to buy the very app he created. The same company that said you're not good enough ended up begging to be part of his vision. Sometimes, revenge is just silence, and a lesson they paid billions to learn. As a young man, Albert Einstein fell in love and proposed to a woman. She turned him down, said he'd never amount to much. Years later, when he became a world-famous physicist, she wrote to him again. He replied with one sentence, "I'm sorry, I no longer have the time to waste on someone who never saw my worth. That's not science. That's intellectual revenge." Revenge doesn't always come with fire and fury. Sometimes it comes with a song. In 2002, Justin Timberlake released Cry Me a River. On the surface, it was just a breakup anthem, moody, emotional, unforgettable. But behind the lyrics was a real story, a betrayal, and a very public act of revenge. At the time, Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears were pop royalty, America's golden couple. Young, beautiful, successful, they were everywhere. But fame isn't always kind, and fairy tales don't always last. In 2002, they broke up. Rumors swirled that Britney had cheated on Justin. Neither of them confirmed it publicly, but Justin had something to say. He wrote a song, and it hit harder than any headline. Crimea River was raw, cold, direct. The lyrics said it all. You don't have to say what you did. I already know. Then came the music video, with the Britney lookalike cheating, Justin watching, filming, walking away. No names were mentioned, but everyone knew who it was about. It wasn't just heartbreak, it was revenge, playing on every screen and radio in the world. Revenge doesn't always come with fists or fire. Sometimes it comes with a melody and a million radio plays. Crimea River wasn't just a song, it was a message. You heard me. Now the world knows. Working the window at McDonald's late night. A guy orders whatever and pulls up to the window. I'm cooking and handling the window, so I wasn't there when the customer pulled up. When I walked up to the window, I didn't see him with trash in his lap. I opened the window to take his card, cash, and he throws a bag of trash at me. I take a step back, bothered that I just got trash thrown at me, and I watch his car speed off. I am pissed, but there is nothing I can do. A couple seconds later, I hear a small bang of metal on metal. I walk to the lobby and look out the windows. The guy slammed into a police cruiser who was about to loop around and use the drive-thru himself. Of course, I also went to tell the officer what just happened inside. Okay, let the last revenge story be a little funny and fishy. So, a husband cheats on his wife. Classic. In the divorce, he somehow ends up with everything, including the house. The wife is heartbroken, but she doesn't leave without leaving a little surprise. Before moving out, she hides raw fish inside the curtain rods. Yep, raw fish. Fast forwards a few weeks. The husband moves his new girlfriend in, and things start to get ripe. The house smells awful. They clean, scrub, light candles, buy diffusers, even bring in professionals. Nothing works. The stench just gets worse. Eventually, the desperate ex-husband calls up his ex-wife to complain. She listens sympathetically and then makes him an offer. She'll buy the house back, but only for a fraction of the original price. He agrees, eager to escape the smell. She buys her house back dirt cheap, tosses out the curtain rods, and just like that, the smell disappears. Now that's what you call sweet, smelly justice. Which story hit you the hardest? Which one will you remember? Drop it in the comments. I want to know. Revenge wears many faces. Sometimes it's a silent exit. Sometimes it's a global empire. Sometimes it's a return trophy or a name etched into history. And yes, sometimes it's fists. Because pain doesn't always whisper. Sometimes it screams. The people in these stories were broken, dismissed, humiliated, even violated. They were told they didn't belong, that they were nothing, that they should just disappear. But instead of disappearing, they became impossible to ignore. Some fought back with fire, others with brilliance. Some rebuilt what was destroyed. Others became the storm that no one saw coming. They didn't always ask for justice, they became it. Because revenge isn't one size fits all. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's violent, sometimes it's so loud the world never forgets. But the best revenge? It's becoming everything they said you could never be, and more. So when the world tries to break you, remember this. You are not here to beg. You are here to rise. Let them laugh, Let them doubt. Just make sure when they look again, they are looking up. That was my share of revenge stories. Stories of pain turned into power, of scars worn like armor. If any part of that lit something in you, don't let it burn out. Subscribe for more. Share this with someone who needs to remember who they are.